It was a quiet Thursday afternoon when Claire sat in her office, staring at the invitation that had just been delivered to her desk. The cream-colored envelope, sealed with gold foil, carried the name of her ex-fiancé, Daniel. The man she had once imagined spending forever with was now getting married to someone else, and he had the nerve to send her an invitation. Claire's hands trembled as she held the letter, her chest tightening with a mix of anger, pain, and disbelief. It had been 3 years since their breakup, 3 long years of patching herself together, of rebuilding her life after he left her for someone better suited to his high-profile career. She remembered the night he walked away, her eyes red from crying, his words sharp and cold as he told her she wasn't ambitious enough to stand by his side. And now, here was the proof that he had moved on, that he was celebrating his shiny new life while she was expected to smile politely in the crowd. She wanted to burn the letter, to tear it into pieces and toss it into the trash, but instead, she placed it on her desk and stared at it, her mind spinning with what-ifs and whys. Why did he invite her? To show off? To remind her of what she had lost? Or to rub salt into the wound he had left behind? Her phone buzzed, interrupting her storm of emotions, and she glanced at the screen. It was her best friend, Mia. "Hey," Claire answered softly, her voice unsteady. "What's wrong?" Mia asked instantly. She always had a sixth sense for Claire's moods. "You're not going to believe this. Daniel's getting married. And he invited me." There was silence on the line, then a sharp intake of breath. "He did what?" "Oh, no. Absolutely not. You're not going there alone. That man does not deserve to see you walk in by yourself like you're some ghost of his past. No, Claire, you're going to hold your head high and walk in with someone who makes his jaw drop." Claire gave a humorless laugh. "And who would that be?" "I don't exactly have a line of suitors waiting." Mia was quiet for a moment before she said, "What about Liam?" Claire blinked. "Liam? My neighbor?" "Yes, your neighbor. The single dad who's always been kind to you, who helps fix things around your place without being asked, and who clearly adores his little girl. He's handsome, humble, and honestly, the kind of man Daniel could never be. Ask him to be your date." Claire's heart raced at the thought. Liam was kind, yes, and incredibly grounded. He had a quiet strength about him, the kind that made people feel safe. His daughter, Lily, was a ray of sunshine, always running around with her pigtails bouncing. But Claire couldn't imagine asking him to go to something like this. "I can't do that. It would be awkward," she murmured. "Awkward is better than pitiful. Come on, Claire. Do you want Daniel thinking you're still broken over him? Because I guarantee that's what he's hoping for. Show him you've moved on, show him you're better. And who knows? Maybe Liam will surprise you." Claire hesitated, chewing her lip. That night, she found herself baking cookies, something she often did when she was anxious. As the warm scent filled her kitchen, she boxed a few up and carried them across the small yard to Liam's porch. He answered the door wearing a simple gray t-shirt and jeans, his dark hair tousled, his smile soft but tired. "Claire," he greeted warmly. "What brings you here?" She held out the box of cookies, suddenly feeling her confidence slip. "I, made too many. Thought you and Lily might like some." Liam accepted them with a grateful smile. "You didn't have to, but thank you. Lily will be thrilled." There was a pause, and Claire almost turned back when the words slipped out. "Actually, there's something I wanted to ask you." Liam tilted his head, curiosity sparking in his eyes. "Go ahead." Her hands fidgeted. "So, my ex is getting married. And he invited me. It's complicated, but I don't want to go alone. I was wondering if maybe, possibly, you'd consider being my date. Just to make it easier." Liam didn't respond immediately. Instead, he leaned against the doorframe, studying her with those steady eyes of his. Claire felt heat rising to her cheeks, embarrassed by how desperate she must have sounded. Then he asked, gently, would it mean a lot to you if I went? She nodded quickly. Yes. It would. His lips curved into a small smile. Then I'll go. I don't mind. Besides, it might be fun. Relief washed over her, mixed with a strange flutter in her chest. Thank you, Liam. Really. I owe you one. You don't owe me anything, he replied softly. Friends help each other. Over the next week, preparations for the wedding consumed her thoughts. She bought a new dress, a sleek, elegant gown in navy blue that hugged her curves and made her feel stronger than she had in years. She had her hair styled, her makeup done, and when the day came, she looked in the mirror and hardly recognized herself. She didn't look like the woman Daniel had left behind, she looked like someone new, someone stronger. When Liam arrived to pick her up, even he seemed taken aback. His usual calm composure faltered as his eyes widened. Wow, he whispered, his voice barely audible. You look incredible. Claire flushed, murmuring a soft thank you as he offered his arm. Together, they drove to the grand venue where the wedding was being held. The hall was filled with glittering chandeliers, elegant flower arrangements, and guests dressed in their finest. Claire felt her nerves spike the moment she spotted Daniel across the room, tall and confident in his tuxedo, his new bride glowing at his side. For a moment, the air seemed to leave her lungs, memories crashing over her like waves. But then she felt Liam's steady hand at the small of her back, grounding her. He leaned down and whispered, "You've got this." Claire straightened her shoulders and walked in beside him, ignoring the curious stares from the crowd. She could feel Daniel's eyes on her, a flicker of surprise crossing his face as he noticed Liam. For once, it wasn't Claire who looked small or defeated. She held her head high, and Liam's presence beside her made her feel unshakable. As the evening went on, they mingled with guests, and Claire realized something remarkable: Liam wasn't just pretending to be her date. He was fully present, engaging her in conversation, making her laugh, and treating her with a quiet respect that was impossible to fake. People noticed. Whispers floated around the tables about how radiant Claire looked, how charming her date was. Daniel's smile faltered more than once, his gaze darting toward them with something that looked a lot like regret. During dinner, as music played softly in the background, Liam leaned closer. "You're doing amazing," he said. Claire met his gaze, her chest tightening with unexpected emotion. "I couldn't have done this without you." His eyes softened. "You give yourself too little credit." Later, when the dancing began, Daniel approached her. "Claire," he said smoothly, though his eyes betrayed tension. "You look beautiful tonight." "Thank you," she replied coolly. "This is Liam." Daniel's gaze flicked to Liam, sizing him up. "And what do you do?" Liam answered calmly, "I'm a carpenter." "And a dad." There was no arrogance in his tone, just quiet pride. Daniel blinked, clearly expecting something more glamorous. "I see," he muttered, before offering a stiff smile and walking away. Claire watched him go, her heart oddly light. For the first time, she realized she didn't envy his new life. She didn't miss him. She wasn't broken anymore. As the night wore on, she danced with Liam, her laughter ringing through the hall, and for the first time in years, she felt free. She didn't know what the future held, but as Liam's warm hand guided her across the floor, she felt that maybe, just maybe, it was something worth looking forward to. What she didn't know was that this night would reveal truths she never expected, truths that would change everything she thought she knew about herself, about Daniel, and about the man who had quietly stood by her side all this time. The night of Daniel's wedding had already given Claire more strength than she had ever thought possible. Walking in beside Liam, watching Daniel's forced smile falter, hearing whispers of admiration directed not at the groom but at her, it was empowering. But what Claire didn't know was that the evening was far from over. As the wedding wound down and guests began to leave, Claire stepped outside into the cool night air, needing a moment to breathe. Liam followed, holding his jacket draped over his arm. "You did amazing," he said softly. "Stronger than I think you even realize." Claire gave him a grateful smile, her heart swelling with appreciation. "I couldn't have done it without you." "I mean it, Liam. You've been more than I could have asked for." His gaze lingered on her for a long moment, but before he could respond, the sound of footsteps interrupted them. Claire turned, and her breath caught. Daniel was standing a few feet away, his face unreadable. "Claire, can we talk?" he asked, his voice unusually heavy. "For what?" she asked coldly. "The wedding's over. Congratulations, by the way." His jaw clenched. "Just a few minutes. Please." Liam looked at her, silently offering to stay, but she shook her head. "It's fine," she whispered. Liam nodded, retreating a few steps but staying close enough to keep an eye on things. Daniel exhaled deeply. "I didn't expect to see you tonight like this. You've changed." "People do that when they're forced to," Claire replied flatly. "What do you want, Daniel? This is your night, not mine." He hesitated, then admitted, "I regret what I did. Leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life." Claire blinked, taken aback, anger rising like fire in her chest. "You don't get to say that now. Not here, not tonight." His eyes were desperate. "I mean it. When I saw you with him, with that man, I realized I never deserved you. He looked at you the way I should have. I let you go because I thought I wanted more, but seeing you now, I realize you were always more than enough." Claire's throat tightened, her fists clenching. For years she had wondered if he ever thought of her, if he ever regretted what he did. And now here he was, confessing it on his wedding night. "You made your choice," she whispered. "You broke me, Daniel. You walked away because I wasn't ambitious enough, because I wasn't good enough for your world. Do you have any idea what that did to me?" His eyes softened with something like guilt, but Claire shook her head. "It doesn't matter anymore. I don't need your regret. I don't need you." She turned sharply and walked away, her heart pounding. When she reached Liam, he didn't ask what Daniel had said. He just placed his jacket gently around her shoulders and said, "Let's go home." On the drive back, Claire sat in silence, her thoughts a tangled mess. She had waited so long to hear those words of regret, but instead of healing, they only confirmed what she already knew: she was done with Daniel. She was free. And sitting beside her, quietly focused on the road, was the man who had made her realize it. When they pulled up to her house, she expected a simple goodnight, but Liam surprised her by walking her to the door. "You were incredible tonight," he said, his voice low. "You held your ground. I hope you're proud of yourself." Claire's eyes shimmered. "I should be thanking you. You didn't just come with me, you made me feel like I belonged there, like I wasn't alone." He smiled faintly. "You've never been alone, Claire. Not really. You just needed someone to remind you." Her chest tightened at his words, but before she could respond, the sound of a child's voice carried across the yard. "Daddy!" Lily came running out from the porch of their house, still in her pajamas, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Grandma made me go to bed but I couldn't sleep." Liam scooped her up effortlessly, his expression softening in a way that melted Claire's heart. "You should be sleeping, little one," he teased gently. Lily pouted. "I wanted to say goodnight to Miss Claire." Claire's eyes widened, touched. "Good night, sweetheart," she said warmly, brushing a strand of hair from the little girl's face. Lily smiled sleepily before resting her head on her father's shoulder. In that moment, watching Liam hold his daughter, Claire felt something shift inside her. It wasn't just admiration, it was something deeper, something she hadn't dared to feel for years. Over the next few weeks, life returned to normal, or at least it seemed to. But something was different between Claire and Liam. They saw each other more often, sometimes sharing dinner, sometimes just talking late into the night while Lily played nearby. He listened to her dreams, her fears, her stories, and she found herself opening up in ways she never had before. And slowly, she began to notice things, small details she had overlooked. The way Liam always seemed to know when she was having a hard day. The way he fixed things around her house before she even had to ask. The way he looked at her, not like she was broken, but like she was whole. One evening, as they sat on his porch watching Lily chase fireflies, Claire finally asked the question that had been nagging at her. "Liam, why did you agree to come with me that night? I mean, you didn't even hesitate. Why?" He was quiet for a long time, his gaze fixed on the glowing bugs dancing in the dark. Finally, he said softly, "Because I couldn't let you walk into that place alone. Because I've seen how strong you are, but I've also seen how much you carry on your own. And because I wanted to be there for you in a way no one else ever was." Claire's heart skipped. "Liam," he turned to her then, his expression earnest. "The truth is, I've cared about you for a long time. Maybe I never said it because I thought you weren't ready, or because I didn't want to scare you away. But being your date at that wedding, it wasn't just for show. It was real for me." Her eyes filled with tear. Her chest tightening with emotions she had buried for so long. I didn't know." He reached for her hand, his touch steady and warm. "I know you've been hurt. I know trust doesn't come easy for you anymore. But I'm not him, Claire. I'll never be him. I don't want perfection. I don't want ambition or status. I just want you." Her tears spilled over, and for the first time in years, they weren't tears of pain, they were tears of healing. She squeezed his hand, her voice trembling. "You already gave me more than I thought I'd ever have again. You gave me hope." In that moment, something inside her broke free. She leaned into him, and when his lips brushed against hers, it wasn't the desperate kiss of two broken souls, it was the gentle promise of a new beginning. From that night on, their bond only grew stronger. Claire found herself not just falling for Liam, but for Lily too. They became a family of sorts, sharing dinners, laughter, and quiet moments that filled the emptiness she had carried for so long. And one evening, months later, as they all sat together watching a movie, Lily climbed into Claire's lap and whispered, "I like it when you're here. You make Daddy smile." Claire's heart swelled, tears blurring her vision. Because in that innocent statement, she realized the truth she had been searching for all along: love wasn't about grand gestures or status or ambition. It was about the quiet, steady presence of someone who stayed. Someone who chose you every day, without question. And Liam had done exactly that. She had gone to her ex's wedding expecting to prove something, but instead, she had found everything she didn't know she was missing. She had found a man who saw her for who she truly was, a little girl who accepted her without hesitation, and a new chance at the kind of love that healed instead of hurt. Claire wiped her tears, smiling as she held Lily close and met Liam's gaze across the couch. He gave her that quiet, steady look that had once been her lifeline, and in her heart, she knew she had finally come home.